Welcome to English Literature for Everyone. I'm your educator Rushi, and today I will start Short Notes of American Literature. It is part of MA English Semester 2 in Lucknow University. If you want me to cover more such content, do let me know in the comments down below. Let's start. First, we will understand what multi-ethnic literature means. So the term multi suggests it is coexistence of different culture in a country. For example, in USA, people from many different ethnicities, religion come to live together. Multi-ethnic literature talks about these different cultures that interact with each other. It also helps us understand why people leave their native land and what problems do they face in their new countries. We understand their perspective, their culture, and their dilemma as they try to adapt to new changes in their lives. Some writers like Khalid Hosseini, Toni Morrison provide multi-ethnic perspective into American society. You can read some examples like The Kite Runner or Beloved to further understand. Now we will see what Native American literature is. So, work written by Native Americans, who are also known as Indigenous Americans or Red Indians, come under Native American literature. Here, they talk about their experiences and their collective history. Also, note that when indigenous people or native people of a land continue to live in their uh, place, despite it being majorly occupied by non indigenous people, it is called Fourth World Literature. So, basically, Native Americans were original inhabitants of America. After Columbus discovered their place, it was colonized by European settlers. By 1776, the US got its independence from Britishers. However, Native Americans were eradicated. Now, they rely on oral traditions to pass down their stories. Later, autobiographical account of Native American started appearing in the late 19th century. This branch of literature talks about the daily lives and routines of the tribe. However, it also focuses on their operation due to colonization. It also discusses how their culture got erased due to severe violence and policing. Some popular texts include American Indian Story by Zitkala Shah, The Night Watchman by Louis Inrich. You can read more about it to extend your answer. Now, coming on to Asian American, as the name suggests, it talks about the experiences of first generation or second generation Asian American in USA. This genre became popular in 1970s as many authors shared their experience with racism, identity crisis, and clash of cultural values in American society. It also talks about the future of young generation as they live in a more liberal country. These texts are not only important in understanding life of Asian American in USA, but it also sheds a light on how global politics affect their daily lives. For instance, when World War II broke out, US had started having a very strained relationship with Japan. So after the attack of Pearl Harbor, Japanese Americans who were in the United States were also tortured in the concentration camp because they were treated as the traitors. Similarly, a global hate towards China during COVID also impacted Chinese American in the United States. You can read more about it in the works of John Ukada, Jhumpa Lahiri, and Maxine Kingston. Now, coming on to Jewish literature, it is about the daily life and tradition and family dynamics of Jewish people who have settled in United States since mid 17th century. These writings often include German, Czech, and Yiddish words or phrases in their stories. Earlier Jewish literature had theme of immigrant experience in USA or promise of American dream or urban poverty among them. However, post World War II, Holocaust survivors would share their horrific experience in the novel. Some authors would also include historical references and cultural memory in their work. While initially Jewish people were often used as a joke or a stereotype character in fiction, with the rise of Jewish literature, we get to see their real lives. Moreover, modern Jewish literature also talks about the complex relationship with Zionism. In case you don't know what Zionism is Jewish nationalist movement that originated in Europe in 19th century that wants to create a Jewish nation in Palestine. I've already included some author in the previous slide. You can go through them and their works in detail. Up next, we have Chicano literature. So the term Chicano was originally associated with people of Mexico who migrated to US or were the descendant of first generation of Mexican Americans. It was a derogatory term, but later it became popular in literature as many Mexican American authors emerged in the late 60s and 70s. This literature often includes Spanish words, phrases, and dialogue along with English. Also, in Chicano literature, authors often include details about economic hardship, state politics, and Aztec culture of Mexico. Sometimes they also explore Mexican myth and stories. We also have feminist Chicano writers who talk about the experiences of women in Mexican society, American society, and Mexican American society that are based in United States. They also talk about gender bias and violence against women of color and those who belong to working class. Here are some authors that I've listed. You can go through them and use some of them as an example in your answer. With this, we come to an end. If you like this video, share and subscribe to my channel. For any doubts or query, comment down below. See you in my next class. Thank you.